Maybe the case that
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first, I'm going to talk as loud as I can. I'm going to hope these guys carry me throughout the evening. But first, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. I'd like to announce that security cameras have been installed in the meeting room for visual recording for security purposes only. Members of the public could be recording the meeting. Are there any amendments to the agenda? No? Okay. We'll move on to open comments. There were zoning hearings were held on March 26th and April 23rd regarding 657 Diesel Road, and then also on April 23rd for 197 Miller Road. Okay, anything to share?
Just a little bit. The 657 Fazell Road had been continued from the March 26th hearing, and just a basic rundown, they have about 10 acres, but because of where the house is placed and the property, pretty much they could only build the garage building they wanted to build, which was kind of considered in the front yard, and also because of private lane next door, there was concern of it being a corner lot. They had a number of concerns. They had someone who built the riding arena, and they wrote a letter saying that there was concern about placing this building somewhere else on the property because of the water runoff. And to make a long story short, that application was approved based on there really wasn't a better place to put the building. That was the first one. The second hearing on April 23rd was for 197 Miller Road, and we were requesting a variance for the side yard setback. It was already a non-conforming lot, and because of the side setback, and they just basically wanted to put an addition on the house, extending the house on the side, and that was really about it. It was already non-existing. Again, the concern of moving the addition somewhere else. They had an architect render what it would look like if it was placed elsewhere, and it just didn't fit the house right. They had also attested to the fact that the well and septic is on the back side of the lot, so there was really no other way to do this, and that variance was granted as well.
Thank you. Anybody have questions for that? All right. Public comment. Does anyone have public comment this time?
Shannon, you want me to do it now or later?
Get discussion.
Right now?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
We went to PSAT's convention 2 weekends ago, and I went to a lot of the ones that had to do with zoning and that type of thing. And I just thought I'd just tell you some of the things that are important out there. The biggest one was unfunded mandates. I mean, everybody was wearing a patch that said unfunded mandates. They're extremely unpopular, as you know, we're not very happy with them. The next one is still going around, is statewide zoning. Where the state would basically come in and just tell you what you're going to do, where you're going to do it, and that type of thing. And again, we were in a convention hall with maybe 600 or 700 people, and they had a moderator and two legislators 4 legislators. And the moderator asked a question about it, and 2 of the 4 said they were in favor of it. And the ones that were in favor of it got resounding boos from all over the auditorium. So no one in any of the meetings I was at has any desire to let the townships not have their own zoning laws. A couple of other ones that kind of go with it. They talked about one bill where you're allowed to build another house on a lot. I guess if you have the room and that type of stuff, again, to help alleviate housing problems. One of them specifically was you're allowed to build a tiny house in your backyard, again, to, for kids who still are home, or for in-laws or something that are not doing well. So those are 2 bills that are out there. The next one sort of terrifies me. They were going to talk about doing something called a reset committee. And basically what it is they would be allowed to come in and say, hey, you guys are short of electricity here. We're going to take this piece of property and we're going to put windmills on it, or we're going to put solar panels on it, or go down to the park and say, hey, we're going to put a nuclear power plant down here. So it virtually allowed them to come in and just do anything they wanted to as far as electricity goes. So that one, like I say, that sort of terrifies me. Some of the other things they talked about, here's a question I didn't know the answer to. Do we have something that's called a nuisance ordinance or not? Or do we even know what it is?
We have a nuisance one.
What is it for specifically?
It's for like trashing your yard.
And that's what that's called? Okay, because they were also talking about houses that are blighted and, hoping to get some stronger legislation where people can go in and deal with them. I know that we have some of those problems here, and some of them are starting to get need to deal with them. So, short-term rentals are still big. This is kind of bizarre, but my grandson's on vacation, and they stayed on a farm where they had bought all of these old buses, set them all up, and made them like apartments. And so that's short term. Went there and spend the night there, which they did, obviously. And it's a little bit bizarre, but that's what they're talking about, kind of thing. So I guess that's about it as far as this group goes. There's certainly some other things they did talk about that we were talking about with the supervisors meeting. Again, the solar farms were, some people want them and some don't. So it was kind of split down the middle, depending on where you lived at. How those things.
Mike,
It was a very good conference.
what is, when you said that, is it a bill regarding the reset committee that's out there being proposed?
It's a bill that they're talking about. Yes.
Okay, so it's just,
None of those things have passed. Those are just ones that are up for discussion, or that somebody's brought up that they thought was important enough to tell us about it.
well, thank you for that update. All right, moving along, approval of the April 17th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from April 17th.
I'll second.
second, any other comments?
That's supposed to say 312 acres for the 11 acre.
3 to 3.5.
Yeah, so it should be.
Three, I think she would 3 to 3.5 acres.
Yeah, but you have the slash after the 3 instead of
Oh,
1.
yeah, should be half. Page 2.
Do you have any motion?
Yeah. So make a motion to approve the revised minutes on April 7th.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So tonight, you have a pre-application, is it the Benatti
Yep.
plan? Is there anybody here?
Yep. Yeah, we have this.
Okay. Can you explain to us we have copies, but if you could explain what the goal is? What you're trying to do?
So subdividing, we already did it once before in 2020 or 2019, the subdivision was made for my brother's house. We're subdividing more off of my parents' house, my parents' existing property, to be put in mine and her name. To potentially, or to build a house.
Okay. So when we're looking at this, where do you see lot
All the other ones are labeled, but lot 2.
two? There's one that's not labeled, is that lot 2? Nicholas?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
my name's Todd Inwood.
Okay,
I'm the survey director for Sheffield and Company. We
Okay.
prepared the map.
okay,
And it was submitted, and we did receive comments from the engineer already that we've taken a look at. And if we could, use this forum to kind of discuss their
Please.
comments and
Yep.
and things like that. The original lot kind of came around like this. So we didn't create a lot 2 because
Okay,
on the original subdivision,
that came out.
this was already lot 2.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah. So the original subdivision was lot 1 and then lot 2. So we divided that up and called this lot 1R. This is a new lot line coming along here and down here, and then this is a new lot line. So now we're creating lot 3 and lot 4 and the lot 1R revised, and then this will remain lot 2 untouched. Okay. Some of the comments that came from LSSE was, the first one was the, sewage planning module, and I believe, you've met with the SEO and those items, and we've shown the perk test and perk holes on the plan. The other items that they question is the parcel in a clean and green area, and we found that it wasn't.
what you said was not?
It was not, no.
Okay.
The next question was, they wanted to show the adjacent wells we don't have it on the plan now, but we have that information, so the next iteration of the plan will show the well, and then, of course, the proposed well is gonna be somewhere, at the minimum 100 feet from the septic systems.
That's on the lot, free?
Yeah, yeah, right. And then, the engineer question, is there an easement for this power line? We didn't do a title search for the property, but there were no easements present in the existing deeds. And that's, that's typically what, we do, we create the survey. But we didn't do any further research. Like I said, there was no mention on that or the prior plan. And then I think, lastly, was the having to be a minimum of 200 feet of frontage, and that's what we really need to kind of discuss here. So for lot 4, lot 3, we constructed lot 3, so it's got its minimum of 200 feet of frontage per ordinance. But lot 4 back here, it's kind of tucked away. While it doesn't have 200 feet of road frontage, actually on the public road, it does have an ingress-egress easement that was recorded with the first plan to get access to the public road. And then also there's a right-of-way here that shows up on some of the old deeds, and it shows up on an unrecorded plan that there's a right-of-way here, and we note that it'll be noted on the new revision addressing the engineer's comments. So I think that's where we're at. Did I miss anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
That last right of way you mentioned, it extends all the way to 68,
It does.
and is it 50 feet, you said?
It is.
Okay.
As well as the recorded easement across these lots and also along the existing drive to come out here from lot 4. Of course, the other thing was lot 4, there, right now, currently, there's no plans to build on lot 4. So we're gonna add a DEP non-building waiver clause on lot 4.
That's what I was, pulled up my notes to
Yep,
ask.
yeah, we added that as well. So
it
lot
has-
4 for right
It
now
has
is,
not been perked.
Correct.
No plans at this time, okay.
that's right.
Questions from the board?
So the DEP non-building clause, is that permitted, since our ordinance says anything under 20 has to happen?
Yeah, so that's covering over top of that by doing that waiver. So basically, if they ever wanted to do this again, they'd have to bring it, re-record another subdivision, removing that waiver, and come back and prove that it has septic and everything. So that's the standard language to bypass the DEP regulation. That's a good question. And then just the only suggestion we have from our office is, I think, in terms of that, you have basically the lot that's creating lot 4 is being expanded like that's 7 acres. And it would be our suggestion to perhaps just apply, just add a waiver to request to have that, since you don't need it, because it is, even though that's an existing lot that's there, it is being expanded kind of substantially. So even if it had a pre-existing kind of landlocked thing, now we have just a substantial, so just request a waiver to waive that thing, and I think we have to do that. So even if it is part of a narrative or anything, if you don't have an effect, basically not having the frontage in ordinance, if you don't have that, just request that, and you can recommend that if you feel comfortable recommending that, because it is, it's not buildable, and it needs everything in the DEP, and then you're covered because you requested for that waiver.
So you can reverse a non-building waiver.
Yeah, you have to prove, you'd have to go through the full Act 537 to prove that you have it.
So do you intend to show that 50-foot right of way up to 68 on your next drawing?
That's
Not
it.
that one, the other one.
This one.
Yeah, it's called out.
And then will it be recorded once you do that?
No, not as part of this project, because it's off-site. So yeah, there's no jurisdiction for him to record this easement unless we involve the other neighbor, the Thompsons and the, yeah.
So this was an old handshake agreement years ago, more or less, with other property owners.
And he said it showed up on the previous plan.
Yeah, it gives mention to it in their current deed. And it was to give, it was actually to give this piece, the prior owner, this long piece access to,
We're the prior owner.
to state route. Yeah. And so it's mentioned, you know, kind of a, and then together with, but then these parcels in their deed is subject to this 50-foot, and they call it a 50-foot right of way. And you know, we did find an old plan. It wasn't recorded, but there was an old plan created that references that 50-foot right of way.
So I wanted to clarify, I know you said that you'd be adding the location of the water service for where the new well would be on 3. That was a water service on lot 1R, correct?
Yes, yeah, well, right, the engineer wanted to see where
Yeah.
the existing well was.
And then also where the septic
Yes.
leach field area is?
Yes, and, yep, when we did add that, that's on there now.
Okay.
Mhm.
Question?
Unfortunately, you guys haven't seen this one updated yet, but we have that information.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, on easement on the new one, we don't have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's right here.
Yeah. Those were the questions.
Not just the sewer things, that's a question I have.
Yeah, yeah, and it happens. It happens a lot, especially on any lots. If somebody doesn't plan on building it, doesn't have access to it, and then if something changes, someone puts a force main in, someone puts a lift station, something that you can connect to, then you just have to go through the 537, coordinate with the sanitary authority, everybody get all this signature. So it's a process. It's not like it's an instant. It could take a year. It's 537, depending on what you have to do. And then again, would have to come in front of you all and re-record that plan, get it off it.
John, does this fall under a minor subdivision, or since it's 4 lots, does it fall under the Saldo?
Check that out.
And it's 3, a total of 3 lots. Even though we go to lot 4, we didn't.
Yeah, it's 4 in number, but 3.
4, yes, yeah. This one? Yeah. Yeah, I think that might have been on census. Yeah, that we see in coverage. Maybe. I wouldn't mind taking some. Because it's his recording. Right now, we're showing the things
Should be enough. Should be enough.
as shown in the deed. You always have to put the source documents, where it can show. And right now, it's just in the deed. We've got a recorded plan. Carries
have on there the zoning district boundaries.
Yeah.
We've added that
Yeah.
one.
You've added that?
Yeah,
Yeah, it runs along. So, yeah, that'll be-
It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, it's still, yeah.
Still line.
I think, yeah, it's still fine. I don't know, because I haven't asked, I know Beaver County is 5 or more, it's always a major process. I think
Five.
yeah.
I think it's on the same track.
Okay, I think we've covered all the questions and comments, so we can get that cleaned up, get all the changes, revisions made that have been addressed, and bring it back next month. We can,
Okay, yeah, we could have it done. We have to wait till the next meeting to resubmit, or?
No. So if you, when would you have it to the office?
Probably,
Next week.
with the items that we discussed. I've already updated the drawing. I just have to add the well, the water sources. We could have it turned around certainly by Monday.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. If I have it next week, that'll be good. I'll hold off on taking it to the county until then as well.
Okay, great.
And
All
then,
right.
yeah, so I'll put it on the June agenda.
yeah, okay.
Fantastic. How many copies would you need?
This, the same, because
Okay.
they'll wanna look,
Yeah.
review it and then.
Okay. Very good. And the status on the request for the waiver for the 200-foot frontage?
I haven't even started that yet,
Okay.
so I need to, I'll look
Okay.
into that next
And
week and see what we need.
I would just like to recommend, just make sure you show proof that you started the non-buildable waiver as well too.
Yes.
Yeah. This one.
Any other questions for us? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That then takes us to, we have no preliminary plans this evening, no old business, no conditional use submissions. So it takes us to the ordinance review. Tom did provide us with the revised notes based on our, we had a workshop on, what was it, May 7th. So it was a very productive evening, and thanks for everybody who attended. But we were able to hash through a number of things, updating the definition in tables, accessory building and structures, area and yard requirements, including fencing, grading permits, landscaping for PRDs, electronic signs, and non-conforming lot regulations. So we got through a lot of, the last 2 months, a lot of items that have been out there for a little while, and I think we've gotten to a place where we're good to clean up the last of the language and maybe forward this along for supervisor review. So, I don't know if you had a chance to look at this. Questions, comments?
I mean, I called John today and we made some changes that we'll talk about, but it does reflect what we talked about at
Yeah.
the workshops. So I don't know, you don't have a,
I have. Yeah, so basically, full disclosure, Art just found I had some typos and some things that we had talked about there. So in terms of the language of a corner lot, we had talked about adding additional language at the end in the sentence that I took. I needed the previous comments to it, so we took care of that. Art, do you want to talk about in terms of the chart, perhaps the accessory structures, or you just want to do that offline?
well, did you put something together for the side and,
Yes.
rear yard?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
No, I haven't sent that to you yet, but we had a new planner started. He's actually a fellow in the AICP, he's registered, Jim Beckley. He actually taught at Ball State. He taught in zoning at Ball State, so he's got an incredible amount of experience. He came out of retirement to work and do things. I had him do a full review, and that was actually one of the things he caught when we talked about those side lots. So he gave me notes on that. I just didn't want to drop it on you in the meeting. I figured we could share that. If there's things that you're okay with, by the time we get it on the agenda for the supervisors, I can share that again. I can send it back out tomorrow. Have time to look over it. I have his notes kind of with me, but I just didn't want to drop anything on you.
I mean, it's hard to approve something if we don't
Yeah.
actually see it.
Besides the typos that you and I went over today, those are updated.
I mean, I don't think this is mandatory that we push this along to make it might be better.
I would really look at that.
Yeah, so would I.
That's the next one. Cause I have questions on the charts too. Sure. Maybe you've done something to that since, but you put 3 to 5 acre lots is what I was concerned about. With, the way it reads, it looks like we require a person to only be allowed to go to 2,400 square foot building if they have sewage and water.
That's right, that's correct.
I don't think it's right. If you have 5 acres, you can still have a well and septic. You can still have room for 2,400 square foot.
Yeah, I can't. I don't understand why, whether you have water or septic that plays into this. Well, how's it factor in? I mean,
Well,
that's
that takes-
stormwater. That's not even.
I understand why it takes away some of the property that normally you could build a building on for that.
Okay.
So if you have water and sewage, you don't have a sand run, you don't have 100 foot from the well distance, that kind of thing.
But it also protects those lots that have something goes wrong. Well drive, been drilled in others more land to drill wells, but it's kind of the buildings.
All right.
Still, it's not through the way that we talked about with the,
We're going back to that, so did we answer that question?
Sorry.
well,
Well, while you're thinking about that, Gary, the one thing I did want to bring up is Ed wanted to see more than 2 buildings for like, these 5 acres or 3 acres with public water. But, and that's probably okay, but I think we ought to say no more than something, not just leave it up to them and have like, you could have 10 the way this is written, as long as it didn't total 4,800 square feet.
Yeah, to make a little village.
Okay, so did you have a number in mind?
No, I didn't.
I'm leaving this up to you because you're the only one who wasn't here when we first approved this, so
Well, first place, 4,800 square feet's crossed off and that totally.
it's on the next page.
It's on the next page.
Okay.
Well, since we're doubling the square footage, would 4 be an appropriate number?
I would think, because I agree, we don't want to see 10 or something, I just thought, yeah, we don't want 10 school buses. But it just seems like 2, when you look at what can count as a structure, isn't much. I guess that was more of my concern. That sounds a little bit better.
Yeah, that'd probably be all right.
Because you're doubling the square footage.
Right. Four structures.
And again, if somebody wanted to do more of that, they'd have to just go in front of the zoning hearing board approve.
Get a variance. Do you think this helps this whole situation the way it's written?
So it's for the next 10 years. People that want bigger in 10 years. I think it will. It will.
I mean, that's the goal, is to make it
Give them
easier.
easier, but I think you're gonna be all right. I mean, that's 2,400 square feet, that's 32. That's 32 by 80. That's
40 by 60.
40 by 60, that's a big building.
I mean, that's a lot of the requests that are
Yeah.
in, right? And not even that big, some of these requests, just.
Most of them is put an RV in.
30 or 40, something.
Have you had anybody come in and say, I wanna build more than two?
Yeah.
So maybe it's not an issue, I just was thinking more
Maybe
of existing
maybe
situations.
just put it at 3. I mean, it gives you a little bit more, but like he says, I mean, you can always file for variance. I mean, boost it up a little bit, but don't get too crazy.
I
Because
mean, beyond 10 to 30%, it reverts back to that.
reverse mechanism.
So it covers.
But a lot of people don't come to one time to build 2 garages.
Right.
That was more of my thought, is, you know, somebody has a detached garage, okay, that's one, and they do one more thing, now they're at 2, and it might be, you know, a Home Depot shed or something, it might be something small, but you've hit 2, and you might be nowhere near the maximum buildable space that you got. That was more my concern.
So you do 3. It's reasonable. And it's still, I mean, I think it still benefits, because that's a request, people are coming in not wanting these, at least what I've gathered, not these crazy large buildings, but just something a little bit bigger than what they can do. And then this would avoid having to do similar hearings.
Yeah.
Think you got that?
So we're
4.
going
We are 4 or 3?
3. What was 3?
3.
Go once, go twice. And too, if things pop up as you dive deeper into it, just like Mark called me today, emailed me, called me, I got my card and cell phone. And there's other things you want to clean up before.
And when do you think you can have those other?
I made changes per our discussion with Mark today, but I was at, he and I talked about 4:15, something like that. So I can email it back out.
And then is this going to be,
Yeah.
that's part of this?
Did we, out of one of those workshops, did someone say, maybe it was Owen, did he suggest that we base the height of the fences solely on site distance?
We did discuss that.
Yeah, that's why then.
But we're still given like heights of fencing in here. I don't know. I mean, fencing wasn't even one of the things that we were slated to do.
It's under 501 driveway.
We just thought the ridiculousness of 3 feet should be addressed, but I mean,
We talked about the ridiculous of 3 feet, we couldn't do that, and we said we were gonna settle for 4. So
Right.
change it to 4.
but then when Owen said base it solely on site distance, that means it could be whatever height it needs to be as long as it doesn't,
Things like that. And anything over 6 needs a building permit, so again,
anything over 6.
correct.
Where does it say
I thought
that?
it said that in the fencing rules.
I don't have a
We were
Was that
getting
something we
rid
had
of
in-
permitting for fencing, I think.
Okay. So maybe we had that in the previous revision. Yeah, if we just want to get rid of the height, maybe keep it with the site distance, then we can do that.
Yeah, that's what I had in my notes.
Okay.
And then, so how's that change the next couple bullets?
The 2 next bullets, which was the 4 to the driveway permit. So we updated driveways to match.
Yeah, I think that driveway section is the one that was gonna dictate what the front fence would be.
Yeah, 503 was the driveway, and we took, so it had said no higher than 3, we had revised it to say 4, because we had originally, I noticed we talked about changing the front to 4. So, we could change that language again to get rid of the height, this is to just make sure it meets a site triangle, it doesn't block view.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's
an
what I
easy one.
had. That was what I had.
Alright. we can adjust that on both the fences, fine, that fine, and the fine.
Well, we did talk about, like, you look on page 12, too.
Yeah, so
Is that,
it also talks about
instead of giving
decorative fences.
a height, instead of putting in specific height, we're going to the same trunk stuff.
Okay. So technically, they could, at the driveway of the road, they could have it lower and then correct it up.
Well, no, once there's no sight distance, there's no threat to safety, or whatever it needs to be.
Do you have issues with fences now?
I don't have a problem with fences. I never had a problem with fences.
Said we, you think we should just scrap the fence stuff?
I mean, I'm kind of like, what you kind of say, I mean, when people have an issue because they have some type of livestock or something, that a 3-foot fence is just not gonna work. I mean,
Big dog.
well, we had a lady that had turkeys and birds and stuff, and they were flying over small fences, and she had to put a bigger fence up. Just keep the liability down there, insurance company, like, either that or the birds are coming. But
It's
that's
bad.
an anomaly, I mean, it's
But
rare.
Yeah, but it's also,
But then again, you could file for a variance because you got a hardship.
and I was gonna say, they also put it back, so it's outside of the, it's back, so it's outside of the site trunk.
Yep. Plus it's. What do you call it? It's wide.
Yeah, yeah,
So you can see.
it's like the chain.
It's chain link, yes, that's what it is.
On another note,
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
I'd like some clarification on page 66, the, ordinance 208. Accessory uses at C at the bottom, number 2. Where it says, no permit shall be required for video, see that? See what I'm talking about, John?
It's what page?
Got in the ordinance.
66, yeah. I'll just scroll down.
So you wanna know if we do get permits for?
Well, remember down at the Legion when I built the bathrooms down there? I built, made less than 200 square feet. It says in here, you don't need a zoning permit for a structure less than 200 square feet, less than 10 foot tall. And Owen converted that into being a commercial thing, and it doesn't say anything about that in here, being residential. If they're gonna have that, then we should say residential.
So the Legion, which is the commercial piece of property, they put an outside restroom in. So there's 2 issues. One, they needed to show capacity within their sewer system. And then they had to do commercial because it's commercial property, that's what they are. So even though it was 200 square feet, they still had to go an FEIA checklist, sewage, 80-day permit. Which didn't like that. They just wanted to build.
They still need to go, yeah. And so you're saying you want to take a look at this accessory uses under number 2, it says building permit shall be required.
Well, I think it should say, if it's,
Residential use only.
yeah, something in there to clarify.
To clarify that it's not across all
Yeah,
uses
I mean, I
in
think
culture, industrial.
we've been running into this with home-based businesses.
Yeah.
When you want to do something like that, you're automatically checked into a commercial grade. It's a whole different animal. A lot of people are just coming in, hey, I want to do this in my house. Well, you are zone commercial, but you are originally residential property. If you're going to do this in your garage, you got to go all
Full picture.
changes.
That's a big cost thing too.
Oh, it's 3 times the
Engineer
amount of
drawings.
residential.
Right, right. We need the architect to sign off on something, somebody's gotta back check your sanitary.
That's where people get frustrated, but you gotta remember, you're dealing with the public, if somebody gets hurt, you're not your job.
Right. The max square foot before it hit the mountain. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so.
Good one, Jared, I forgot all about it.
Well, I did. I was traumatized.
You didn't sleep once.
I said, hurry up and get it done.
They got done. Some hoops together, they got done.
Questions, comments?
I'm good.
Until we get the revisions back?
Yep.
That's anything else right now? Okay. John, when do you think you can have those?
Does Monday work? I'd like to get down, talk about it tomorrow, get some food.
Yeah, then it gives us a couple weeks.
I just have enough time for your guy that's looking at it.
Yeah, and that gives us, like I said, a couple weeks before we have our next meeting, that we can get back to
Yeah,
you.
and anything, like I said, anything you see, like I said, just more things pop up, you see, just. Nothing like that. Elongated, keep the stream open. It's good to catch information from them. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Did you do a review, like a control line, the building line?
Yes, I did.
Did all that?
Yeah, we did it with Owen as well, too, I fact checked Owen, it's correct, it popped up 8 times.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, just for, you weren't at the workshop. Owen did a search, John verified the search, catching, like running the terms and catching how many times they showed up.
Oh, okay.
Just short of it says the building setback line,
Yeah,
rather than just the line.
Okay.
That it's caught when we do that, it was like 8 times.
Yeah, that's where, if you see at the beginning of my, watch probably find that section 406, bed and breakfast, yeah, we found it across the board. Even in, section 100 in your title, we have to change it with your second paragraph in the ordinance, which calls it just that line, so we're really short and set it there, so.
Okay.
But thank you for asking.
All right,
That's
thanks.
good.
So, I just, one, railroad was sent out to you, we talked about side yards, front yards, back yards. And we talked a lot about the odd shaped intersections and everything else. We had a building permit come in, it's in a Y intersection. You can't make this stuff up.
Okay, go ahead. Go
It's the
ahead.
only thing we didn't.
It's in a Y intersection and there's a building in the middle of that, and he wants to put a garage in the back of it. Explain that.
2 fronts, 1 side of the back.
2 fronts. In a rear, correct, that's all
Well,
that.
Technically, when you switch it to that, my suggestion would be how we'd always do it, which is suggested this here, is that would be identified as a side yard setback, because a rear yard setback might end up being something that's like 40 feet, and they can't do anything. So by delineating it as a side, because technically those are your side neighbors in that corner, and that, it's like a inverted pie shape. We looked at other ones that were a different pie shape, rather than a Y. So if you look at that, you have.
What's what it is, it's pot shaped.
Yeah, it's a front, and then technically your neighbors would be your side neighbors, rather than your rear neighbors. And by, that it helps move out that way as well too. But that's how we would even, like, again, anything that I've designed and we laid out, that's how.
Because I know ONC still met, it's 40 feet setbacks on both sides now,
Yeah,
all the way through.
and that's on all the way through,
Well,
well, along the road frontage. Like
both
if we
road
talk
frontage, because it's a Y intersection. It just says a backyard.
But does it even matter what we're saying now? It's whatever's on this plan.
That's what I was on his plan, like, yeah, prior to doing this, but.
Yeah.
But we went through some issues, I was like, well, you can't do it because you don't have a. So you got 2 front yards, can't build a front yard.
You have 2 neighbors?
We're gonna break that horse one example.
It's Bruce Tavern, so that's the property they're looking at.
Yeah.
You got Bruce right in the middle, he wants to put a garage in the back, so it wise, then you got Dietrich's behind.
This cul-de-sac.
Well, there's other issues, because he wants the residential.
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
Like he's like, I just want to put it for storage, because it's not dealing with nothing with building now, it's commercial property, commercial business, it's, everybody wants to keep going back and forth what uses.
Yeah, I
Just-
do agree with
That was like this
yes.
week's thing, and I'm just like, really, that happened this week?
We got to know that now it's possible.
We thought we had it all worked.
Yeah,
I don't know how it worked out, but it
Would
backed
you,
up.
would you like us to include a diagram for a while?
Probably, I mean,
We're here, we do it.
I mean, we have the other
I'll
ones, it's probably not a bad
Talk to you
idea.
tomorrow about it, and see what.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's sort of covered.
anybody that gets 2 fronts, the other ones are sides, so it doesn't
Yeah,
matter what
I mean,
shape it is.
it's-
Yeah.
I mean,
About
that's what this is
10
for.
miles long, 15, it's still.
Well, it's a small lot too, so it's like you're really.
It's a corner lot,
It's a corner
Yeah,
by
you're
definition.
limited.
By corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you are right.
It's limited what you can do.
I heard you had to get a permit, which I heard before.
That's Dietrich's property, that was,
So that lawn must be right behind it.
yeah, like where that tree's at, that's the property.
This is
It is an insurance.
I don't even think it's an acre.
You don't think so?
I don't think it's an acre.
Will be a- Yeah, I mean, to reduce the number of questions. Having the diagrams is.
I think that's much more.
Yeah, it will definitely reduce, the regards that always be questions, so it'll reduce the number of questions. All right, well, John, thank you.
You're welcome.
And once it comes back out next week, I was going to look at it and send in your comments about John, and then we can actually get to rest.
Fine too.
We do not have an education program this evening. Discussion, I don't have anything to discuss this evening. Did anybody else? Anything they want to discuss?
Just did.
I think I'm back up here for the big meeting, right? For the
We could watch the
part
video
plan.
of you not receiving your number.
You mean the next,
The super.
the managers meeting, you mean?
Yeah,
Are you?
I think I'm coming up for that.
21st.
Yeah, for the parks plan and stuff, I'll be here for that, presenting.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, just see my sweet face again.
There's nothing for discussion. Closing comments, just, yes.
I just wanted to say that out at the convention, they called your name and they got a round of applause for getting your award and so on. So even though you weren't there, it was still appreciated. We appreciate it. I think that's a great thing.
They did it. Okay. They didn't send it to me.
Oh, they told me they were gonna send it to, but they, even though I got tired, they were sending it with you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll reach out then.
Okay, I'll tell you, yeah.
So I was originally supposed to go to PSATs, but because of, just some personal matters, I wasn't able to attend, but I still did graduate and got my diploma and will continue my education from here, but hopefully next year, everything will be back in line and we'll attend. But closing comments, all I had was that, once John gets the stuff, that they're going to take the time to look at it, and thanks to all of you for all of the hard work and putting in the time for workshops to do all that, it's appreciated. And if there's nothing else, then I think we could entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.